Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back again. Today we're starting off with day 5. Gonna get right back into it here. We left off yesterday uh, working on the kind of like strategy framework or implementation for strategies. We got midway, I would say. We got the very basic part of it, at least like a base strategy, and then our framework for our Tesla swing trading strategy. Um, we don't have the meat of it yet, but we do have the starting point. Today, I wanted to actually get into handling the data streams from Polygon. So here in the runtime, we have these event handlers for minute aggregate received. These will actually start receiving data, and we need to pump that data into individual strategies. However, the way that the streaming data comes in, say you subscribe to 6,000 symbols, well, this event handler is just going to fire off whenever it receives a data point for that symbol, and then we would be triggering that on each of the strategies that we have. So the better implementation that I was thinking about is we just kind of designate within the strategy uh, the symbols that we're looking for. So this is a list here that we're implementing in base strategy, and we can actually just make it IEnumerable, probably numerable, and same thing for the right here. I think that'll work. Yeah. So we'll just create a list in the base strategy and then just add the tickers that we want. It doesn't have that, so that's probably not going to work. So can we do a list for IEnumerable? Does that still implement now? Oh, we'll just do a list then. Yeah, so we can pull from here then, the tickers. So what I was thinking about is, I guess, creating a dictionary where we add the symbol as a key. So the symbol would make it unique. And then within the dictionary, the values would probably be another list of strategies or strategy types or methods. So maybe even these on data actions, potentially just the strategy objects themselves, because we initialize them in the initialize function here. So we initialize and load strategies. So we're actually storing the strategies already in this object. So we can make this a dictionary, but these should be unique. Because what we want to do is attach a strategy to, so we might even just keep a separate object. We want to link a strategy or map a strategy to a symbol when we're subscribing, so that when this call comes in, we can pull from that. We'll just match the object. So this should have a symbol, right? And this would be our key then for our dictionary. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So we'll just have a dictionary. Yep. And then we'll just do like, dot value dot, on data, right? And then we'll pass in the object. It'll probably be value and then for each, right? Actually, bar type. So that would be the strategy, and then type, as long as it's not null, on data type thing. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Oops. How is that going to look though? I mean, or should we have like a delegate that holds this method? So when we subscribe to a ticker over here in our connection helper, we are subscribing here and unsubscribing. So this is where we could register a symbol in the dictionary, and then also add it to the list. So we can just loop through the strategies here maybe. Let me open up let's see. We can just add it to our design doc. It's today the 29th. Let's see. Streaming data subscription thoughts. Implement a dictionary to retain symbols and the corresponding. Do we want to even handle that, or do we just want to select them each time? So like we can also do, I got to think about this a little bit. We can also, right, so like for each, we can just do var strategies, strats, data. We'll just do that for now. And then we can do strategies dot select. Oh, we can do where s dot subscriptions dot contains, right? Can we do this? So now we have all the strategies that contain then select. Can we select the method? Can we select the action? No, because it returns void. Oh, so can we select that? We can't do that. iStream ag to, did I get that wrong? The on data. Oh yeah. So that should be iStream ag. Stream aggregates, iStream aggregates. Doesn't know what that is. Now that should be okay. Right, let's close that. Is that how we want to do it? So we got actions. Can I convert stream ag to iStream ag? Alpaca markets iStream ag. Alpaca markets iStream ag. I thought I did this here. Oops. Does that work? Does that work? Does that work? Going back. Select. Select result. Can we do it just like that? No. But we would be able to just select that, right? That gives us, and then we can just invoke them all. Or do we want to add them to a delegate when we start up? Right, so the other way is to, when we load strategies, start getting all these symbols that we need to subscribe for added to a dictionary. So we add them to a dictionary, and then that dictionary object would be a delegate, so like a generic delegate. and then we can add the onData method to it. So we can have a delegate. We'll just put it right here for reference, right above it, and we'll move that later if we want to do that. So public delegate stream ag delegate, right? I implement. Right. How do you write a delegate? 1 second. I'll have to do the return type. So I think we can actually just call it iStream ag delegate. And what is it returning? So this one's returning void. But what is the onData? These should be void as well, right? Yeah. Okay. So we can do void here. Void iStream ag, yeah, bj, right? So now we have a delegate, and then we want to implement on minute ag received, right? And then we should call this onData IEVED. I before E. Is that right? I don't know how to spell that. I before E. No. I had it right. Alright. onData received. Did that change these? It sure did. Wonderful. Okay, and this would be private. Static iStream ag delegate minute so it should be on minute aggregate received. EI. Right, so now we have something that we can add to. So we can add that to the dictionary, right? So the value would be, so we would then instead execute, so those are two options there. And we would have to loop through the actions, but this one would be on, no, this would be dictionary of symbol dot value, right? And then invoke. And that would invoke it with the object. I kind of like that. That seems pretty clean. And then when we're receiving here, we can, so later we'll probably want to register, we can still use the same dictionary actually. So I'm thinking we want to have like a security that we register, so like equity or something like that. This is a model that I'm thinking about. So the model would have, I'm kind of liking this now that I'm thinking about it more. So, okay, so streaming data, okay. So we would want implement a dictionary to train a new model type. Let's call it security, right? And then security type would have the following, right? So implement a iStream add delegate for minutes and option for second later, right? And so with this security, it would have each strategy that requires it. And then in this security, it would also have like, order history, right? Whether we have current positions open, currently invested, and should be a different thing. Invested, true or false, depending on the strategy requesting. Or should we have a security type for each strategy? So like, strategy A would have symbol Tesla, and then strategy B also has Tesla, and each of them retain individual data. We're going to have to start tagging our orders too, because we don't, like if we invest in Tesla with strategy A, we don't want to close it out in strategy B because it's part of strategy A. So we'll have to tag our orders, be able to determine which is which. And what else would that have? Last order date, transaction date. And if we're implementing let's keep it simple. And if we're invested in strategy A on Tesla, strategy B would not try to invest or sell, right? Until strategy A is no longer invested. Because we're just doing simple like, I guess, buy and sell market orders at the moment. Nothing special. So I like this framework here. So let's create a new. I think this is going to work out the best. It's going to keep it pretty clean and understandable in terms of what I'm thinking. Let's add a new folder. Let's call it models. And let's go back to the solution view. Oh, it didn't add. Yeah, get rid of the models. We want it to add to the solution folder. Did that not? Probably didn't delete the folder. No, it did. Yeah, no empty folder there. Okay. So models. And we'll just call this a security. And this is just going to be a public class security. And what did we say that a security would have? It would definitely implement the delegate, and actually we can move that delegate that we made over to there. And right, so the security has to have this, and this would then be public, and it's not static. And it would become a property. Just using alpaca markets. Yep. And this can just go, I think, can that go in the namespace? This can just go. Doesn't matter. That's fine there for now. We can move it later. So it would also have to have so it can only be set privately. Would have to have whether we're digested or not. I don't know how we're going to store this yet, so let's wait. So we want to get our last order. I want to get last filled order invested. So these are properties that I want to add later. Transaction. So when we last bought or sold, and potentially order history. Okay, but we will stick with this for now. Since we're not buying and selling yet, we'll add those later and figure out how to implement it. And then outside of the properties, we just need a constructor. Sorry, security. String symbol. Okay, so that's going to work. I like that so far. And we can do, not implementing this yet, but we can do this here as well, right? Do we need to be able to set it? No, we just need to be able to add to it, which is a set, I believe. Yeah. Okay, so I think I know how I want to do this now. Let's leave that there. So let's flip back over to the connection helper. And this is where we're subscribing. So we may want to break this out to subscribe. So is there a quick action? No. Nothing, no quick actions. Nothing, okay. So connected, not connected. So let's just call subscribe. We can just do private, static, async. Task, subscribe. And then we should get a list of symbols. From these strategies, select subscriptions. Then we want to select from the subscriptions and do S again, I think. I think we just select S because that would give us the list of strings to array. Enumerable string, string. So it's nested. So we want to we're selecting those, and then can we group by? does that do? List string. Oh, we probably just want to select you. So this is, I think we would want to join. I think we can just loop through. So we have a list of a list. So that gives us a list of lists. So we need to be able to select unique. So we can just, I guess, check. So we'll just loop through them then. Let's do var symbols. No. List symbols string symbols. That should be fine. For each var strategy. If probably just break that out into a separate area. Yeah, that should be unique. And then these are only one-liners, so we can just... Is that readable? It's kind of nested, but... Can't refactor that either. Okay. Private, static, void, get subscription strategy, subscriptions. Right, and then return so now we have a unique list of subscriptions. And what is this? So we're unsubscribing from IEnumerable, which that should be. So we just do our symbols equals get strategy subscription. So we only need to do that once here. And same thing for unsubscribing. Disconnect, unsub right here. And that can just be this if statement. So let's get subscribe in there. It doesn't need to be async. It's fine. All right, so we sub up here, and then we unsubscribe. First with nothing, second with passing symbols, because we need them down here to resubscribe. We can just move this here. Enumerable string. Right? And we can call that. So we subscribe, but first we unsubscribe and then resubscribe. And we only unsubscribe if we're subscribed. Otherwise we move on. And then we should also have a private static void unsubscribe. That does nothing, right? And then unsubscribe. So that way we can use that here. But I think we want to unsubscribe before we disconnect. Right? No, it shouldn't matter. It's a different function call. Probably want to stop data coming in as soon as possible. So does that work? So here we subscribe, we connect and subscribe, and then we disconnect here, and then if, yeah, I kind of like that. So now we're actually getting subscription symbols from the strategies, but at the same time, we need to be adding the, I didn't think about that. We need to be adding the functions or the methods for the stream aggregate delegate, right? We need to start registering strategies with the symbols. So we need to be creating securities here and then registering them. So this might not do what I wanted. Where's that connection helper? So get subscriptions. So this is getting all the symbols that we need to subscribe to, but it's not returning the, so we should do symbol and then also create the delegates here. No, we should be adding these to a list of securities right away, right? Let's see. I don't want that to happen. Right, so we get the list, but we also need to think about the delegate that we talked about in our securities. So there should be a dictionary in Run Manager called securities. I'm just going to do static read only concurrent dictionary string security. Let's do internal. I don't know if we're going to have to use that anywhere else, but let's do that for now. So we'll just initialize that. So we would want to start adding on subscriptions. On the connection helper. I guess we can rename this get securities and start creating securities off of this, right? So securities dot add try add get or add, right? Symbol new security. Right, so and then security. May not even need this here. We call it like load securities. Let's go with that for now. And then security dot on min aggregate received plus equals strategy on data received. All right, so now this security in our dictionary has so when we unsubscribe, we need to pass nothing, and this is nothing. Unsubscribe, so we could just do securities keys and subscribe securities dot keys, and we just don't provide anything, and this can go in our load strategies helper, strategy helper, I mean, okay, so we're looping strategies here, right? Do we even need to maintain a list of strategies? Do we even need to maintain a list of strategies? I mean, can we just load the strategy, loop through the symbols, add them to the dictionary as a security, and then add the delegate for the subscription for the data? So it initializes it. Then up here, right, we would just do this, right? And we would want to loop through those, right, for each symbol in here. Strategy. So this would become instance. We can actually rename that. So it's more clear. And then this would just go inside here. And this would just need a data type. Where else do we use strategies? Let's see, run manager, strategies. I mean, we're missing it. I mean, the await's right here, but okay. I can do it here. So appease that little guy. Alright, so no args, make field read only. Okay. So is that going to work then? So basically this is going to give us a securities list that has everything we need, including the minute aggregate received. So then when we get a data call for, or I'm sorry, a data point for, it's kind of cool. I think I'm kind of liking this actually. So securities, right? And then we object symbol, and then minute aggregate received. If it's not null, then we invoke with objects. So now when we're receiving data, we just invoke the minute aggregate received. Is it going to be that easy? Is that a good way to implement that? I'm curious. Excuse my chair. Makes a lot of noise. That can't be it. I mean, that's pretty clean, dude. Because then even in our securities object, we are maintaining, right, order history for that particular symbol. And where that data goes, right? So where this actually goes. So when we invoke that, say we have like 3 strategies that if we have 3 strategies that need the ticker symbol, Tesla, then they would all just be invoked at that point when we receive data for it. And then subscription-wise, in the connection helper, we only subscribe for the keys, right? So, and those are provided when we load the strategies, right? So get the symbols. Dude, I think that's it. That's pretty clean. I'm liking the way that turned out. So how did we do that? So, okay, so we implemented a delegate on a security order history. So let's put in here what we put. Let's just make these match. So we'll have all of this here in our design. And we'll just replace those. Okay, so we just do this. I mean, we could just leave that, right? So we have a reference. This needs another space. We just want to remove. Right? We have the following. String, comma, security. I wonder what that's going to do for the formatting. All right. I think that's it, dude. And then that's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. So now this should be receiving stream objects based off of the subscriptions here. And we can even add range, right? Add range. And then we could just put like, you know, if we wanted more than one. Does that work? INRule string. I mean, can we just do generic type here like that? No. that work? I mean, new, oh, string. This work? Okay, so I mean, we can do it like that. I mean, that's not so bad. That's easy enough to define. Doesn't matter how we do it. You know, we can even specify some, you know, private list here, or maybe download it, do like a webhook, download it from Pastebin or something, update that list. Yeah, I think that's going to work. All right, so now we have data coming in, and we're handling the calls for that. What other ones did we not implement yet? So we're not doing on trade updates. So that would be when we make a purchase. What does on account update do? On account updates. Alpaca, csharp, SDK. So on trade updates. Streaming client, streaming client, streaming client. No, I'm sorry, on account update. What does that do? Not trade update, account update. Occurred when new account update received from stream. What does that mean? Oh, what is it? What does it give me? Updated at, deleted at. What would you use this information for? And the account was updated. Not really sure we would use this information. I'll probably just logger log information. All right, just log it. I'm not sure what we would be using this one for. This one we do want to implement, so to do here, to do next time, implement trade updates for security objects, right? So if we make a trade, we would want to definitely add that. Yeah. What happens if we receive a trade update for something that's not in securities? Probably just ignore it because it's being handled outside the bot. Right? It was done in the web or something like that, some other entity. Yeah, we would just ignore it. We're only loading stuff that in our securities list that are explicitly defined in our subscriptions. And I wonder if we can just, you know, if we see a star, subscribe to everything. We'll try that in the future. Well, this is looking pretty good, actually. So I think, okay, so next time let's do our next time doc here. So we completed all this, right? So completed, 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 completed. These are not done yet. And remaining tasks. So this is partial, right? We don't, I mean, we do have it. We do have to add potentially partially done. let's move this down into remaining tasks down here still in for 929. What happened here? Why can't we use this? It's not at the beginning? Yeah. So okay, so so this is partially done. So potentially still need state data for tracking indicators specific to strategies. Right, okay. Yeah, and we need all of the other ones as well. And then we also need to, next thing we want to do, we're not really handling trades yet. I might want to start with that and then add down here implement, right, the on trade update. And this can stay, I mean, it's really an event handler. So client, streaming client handlers, streaming client handlers, right? I'm just going to move this quickly. Run manager public class run manager. Just going to move these out. Right. Keep this clean. So the only thing in here is kind of like starting. Why are these gone now? They're not recognized yet. Are they back yet? No, they're back. Okay. So this is only kind of like startup, initialize, and stop. And then, yeah, I like keeping that clean. And these will just go in here. We'll do trade updates there. Okay, liking that so far. I think I'm gonna get ready to call it here. We got quite a bit done today. Just to quickly recap what we did. We needed a way to start feeding the streaming data into the strategies themselves. So we moved a bit around. We had a function to load strategies and then retain that, but we also needed the ability to call the on data received for individual strategies. So I thought of a delegate that we can implement with a model security. So we created a class called security. It tracks a symbol and then also that minute aggregate received. These we're going to implement as well later on. So one for second, this should be second actually. Update that in the design guide. Right, this should be second. That's later. We're not going to do seconds yet, but we're going to do that later. And then we'll need the order information, whether we're invested, when we last purchased, and potentially order history. The full order history. I know that there is a limit to 500 orders on the Alpaca API. So when you request orders, it limits you to a list of 500 based off a specific date range. So we may have to get like 500, then step down to the last one in the list and start there and get the next 500 and keep going until we get no more new orders for that symbol. But we'll see how we want to handle that later. I just know that is a limitation when I was using it before. So outside of this model, the way we used it is in our run manager, created a we're no longer using this, I believe. So we created a dictionary of securities. So now we have a unique symbol ticker here and the security itself for it. And the way we use that is in our strategy helper. And we should rename this file to helper. And securities count, securities, select s dot key, value, right? Get type, get name. It's just going to give me the, let's come back to that one, because that's supposed to be outputting the securities that we added. We might just have another list. So let's leave this with a to do, no longer outputting the correct information. Fix. All right, so we'll get back to that later, no big deal. So in our load strategies now, we are loading the strategies still. We're actually initializing it here still, but what we added is adding the security to our list of symbols, and then we add the method for minute aggregate received, or I'm sorry, to the delegate minute aggregate received to with the on data for that strategy. So for instance, on swing Tesla, this method will get added to the new delegate for the security model iStream delegate, which we just defined here, and then it's actually implemented in our connection handler here for the Polygon streaming client minute aggregate received. So when a stream aggregate comes in for whatever we subscribe to, it's going to see if it's null and then try to invoke it and pass along the object. So it'll basically be a delegate and pass it on to all the strategies that need it in this stream object. And then also in the connection helper, we broke this up a little bit. So in our connect, we now have a subscribe and unsubscribe. So our subscribe first unsubscribes, and then it gets all the keys from our securities, which are loaded at the beginning when the application loads. And those are defined by the, as we noted here, subscriptions list that we define in each strategy. So if we go back to that, we just subscribe here and then mark it as subscribed, and then if we try to unsubscribe with the unsubscribe function. So that's the only thing we added. Tomorrow we're going to continue on with the probably the state data for strategies, see how we want to be tracking these indicators, and we probably want to implement this trade update as well. So that's what we're going to focus on tomorrow. Thanks again for joining in and watching. Please do subscribe if you want to catch me going live next time. Again, I'm trying to do this daily, around 7 p.m. Might miss a day or two, but potentially, we'll be there and streaming. I am also uploading all this to my GitHub page. It's github.com/justku, and you can find the repo Trade Me up there. Also, the link is going to be in the description. Thanks for watching.